The Ivany Report set out some ambitious goals back in 2014 to revitalize Nova Scotia's economy. While some of the 19 recommended goals have not been met, for example, increasing the number of business startups and raising the employment rate for First Nation and African Nova Scotians, others have. Among them, growing fisheries and agriculture exports, improving youth employment rates, and growing the population. Bureaux is the president of Nova Scotia Community College and is with One Nova Scotia, the group tasked with measuring the progress being made on Ivany Report recommendations. Mr. Bureaux, I guess overall, if we could begin, how are you feeling about the progress that is being made or not made, as the case may be?
Yeah, Tom, I'm feeling very positive after 10 years. You know, this report back in 2014 had a 10-year arc of time. It brought together 19 objectives. But for me, if you took the report and kind of shook it all out, Tom, there were three major imperatives that Ray Ivany would have said that we need to focus on. And those three would be the economy of Nova Scotia, the demography of Nova Scotia, and the third one was an interesting one, is kind of an attitudinal shift on behalf of Nova Scotians. And I think in all three of those, we're doing very well.
All right, let's look at some of those then. Let's begin with the economy. What do you think has changed in Nova Scotia in the 10 years since the report?
I think in the past 10 years, Nova Scotia has moved into what we call the fourth industrial revolution. And if you think back quickly, the first industrial revolution was focused on the capturing of steam. The second was really focused on the capturing of electricity. The third, about 30 years ago, was focused on the microchip. But now we have the world focusing in this fourth industrial revolution on the intersectionality between big data and automation and robotics and big blockchain computing. And you know, Nova Scotia is able to compete now with the best in the world because the most important factor of input, if you will, is human capital. And here in Nova Scotia, we are blessed with some very, very talented individuals that are driving the economy, and the world is taking notice of that, and they're coming to our shores to invest.
Okay, let's talk about that for a moment. Demography, a big overarching theme, as you say, in the report. There have been and are some of the biggest changes we're seeing in this province currently in demography. Am I right?
No doubt about it, Tom. You know, for the longest time, we had such an out-migration of our workforce. A lot of people would complete their post-secondary studies here in Nova Scotia and seek opportunity elsewhere. We were losing 5, 6, 7,000 people net a year. And the Ivany Commission basically said that had to stop. And through a number of wonderful, I think, public policy decisions that our current government is making, our past government made, we've turned that around. And now we're growing 25 to 30,000 people a year. And I quite frankly, I think our current premier has it right. We have to double our population in the province of Nova Scotia to compete, again, with the best in the world.
There does seem to be a different attitude in the province, the report again calling for that. What would you say about that as it reflects or impacts the economy here?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. You know, at one time, our brand as a province many years ago was we competed on low cost, low skilled labor. Come to Nova Scotia, there'll be guaranteed lots of people who will be willing to work for, quite frankly, minimum wage. But I think there's a different confidence level now in the province. People are looking into a mirror and seeing a different Nova Scotia looking back at themselves. The second thing that I think has changed, Tom, significantly is we're much more welcoming, I think, as a province. We recognize the value of diversity. We recognize that by having the world kind of represented in our communities, we're able to be that beacon for economic prosperity. So that attitude of recognizing that it takes the whole world to come to our shores to represent the world is something that's changed significantly. And I think the third thing that's changed is people are recognizing the value of innovation, of being creative and entrepreneurial and using those skills to build that attitudinal skill to build a better tomorrow for our province.
It's been a bit of a turbulent 10 years too when you factor in the pandemic and the impact that has had on the economy and a number of things, high inflation and so on. What do you think Nova Scotia needs to do to go forward or advance on all of those 19 recommendations that you alluded to earlier?
Yeah, so you're right. Certainly 10 years ago, it wasn't contemplated of a worldwide pandemic. So for me, I think we need to the three major buckets I still think are a priority for us to remain focused on. I think we need to think long term, Tom, that this is an arc of time. We spent the last 10 years focused on this, and we're going to spend the next 10 years locked on some major priorities for the province of Nova Scotia. This is not a one and done, it's not a short term solution. So, long term commitment to continuing to build the economy by embracing this modern industrial revolution that we find ourselves in, continue to build the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and welcoming people to the province, and really locking on this notion that we need a population growth. We do need to double our population in the province. And all that to say is that I'd much rather be managing the complications that come from growth and the complications that come from decline.
Well, just quickly before I let you go, on that point, is Nova Scotia properly planning for the kind of growth that we are seeing and expecting to continue?
Well, I think there's some areas that we've done very well. Again, I think our post-secondary institutions, our ability to welcome people to the shores and provide opportunities for them. In some examples, we're doing very well, Tom. But I think also there's areas in which we continue to need to work on. I believe Nova Scotia is a great province, but we're not perfect. And I think everyone would agree that there are some pressure, some tensions right now in society that we all need to lean into and collectively come together through collaboration to make even better this province that we live in.
10 years, big milestone. I appreciate getting your thoughts on it, Don Bureaux. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Have a great day.